Hi there. So if you've been asking clients for referrals and wondering why it feels awkward and doesn't work, there's a reason for that. Most businesses are taught that the key to getting referrals is to simply ask. Ask your customers, ask your contacts, ask your network. Ask, ask, ask. But what if I told you there's a completely different approach? This week on the podcast, I interviewed Stacey Brown-Randall, the author of How to Generate Business Referrals Without Asking and Building a Referable Customer Experience. And she revealed something that completely changed how I look at referrals. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover the two hidden reasons why asking for referrals backfires and what you can do instead to significantly amplify referrals from your customers and beyond. Let's get into it.
If it doesn't fit who you are or how you want to show up in the marketplace, then maybe consider not asking. The first one is it's a more tactical one. And if people only refer to you because you're asking them to, the ask becomes the trigger. And I want the trigger not to be something you have to do every time. And that's one of the tactical, logistical lifts that's heavy when you decide to ask for referrals, is that you have to constantly be asking, which means you have to always be doing it. And usually people who do ask for referrals will tell you they have to be asking in person. The sending an email blast out to 15 people or 1,500 people or 15,000 people does not, that stuff's ignored. That it then becomes this in-person ask that I have to do. And so that's a time commitment, massive. And it means if you stop asking, you're not going to generate referrals. So that's the first thing that people have to pay attention to is what I just call it's on you. What are you going to feel in terms of the logistical lift and the extra work that's going to be added to your plate consistently, forever, right? The other thing about it is actually what it's doing psychologically to the person you're asking. And in some cases, probably psychologically to what it's doing to you too, especially if you're uncomfortable with it. And there's nothing wrong with being uncomfortable with it, right? If you are uncomfortable with it, you shouldn't do it. And don't worry, there's another way. But what people don't pay attention to in the second piece is actually how it makes the person feel that you're asking. And that's a big piece that people sometimes overlook. We're so focused on ourselves and what it means for ourselves, we forget that there is a reaction and that there is an impact to the feelings of the person we're asking. And what they won't usually tell you is that a couple of emotions are hitting them, right? Unless they love you dearly and you need a lot of help and they love you dearly, they'll probably be how can I help? But if you're asking your clients, that's not the same situation, or prospects or people that you've met in networking groups that aren't in your inner circle of 5 or 6 people, when you're asking them to refer you, the feelings and emotions that they have is you just added work to my to-do list and my to-do list is long enough. You put them in a place to immediately have to think of somebody and their minds go blank and they're I'll get back to you. And then we are but they don't, right? And so you're asking them to artificially create or manufacture something that does not exist. And a referral has to exist naturally so they could actually be somebody who wants to spend money with you. And so that's the thing that people have to keep in mind. It's it's the negative impact it's having on the person you're asking, and it becomes the way that you're going to generate referrals means you have to always be asking, which is a huge time commitment.
So the next little clip, we're going to see what we can do to begin making referrals from our customers happen. This is really powerful advice. If you have a pen, this is the point you're going to need it.
But after listening to this episode, the number one thing that I would say you want to consider doing, an action you're going to take for your business, is to map out what you're doing now. And I mean old school, piece of paper, bullet point it out, draw it out like it's on a map or whatever. But the minute somebody says yes to you, what's the first step that's taken? And then what is all steps that happen after that, and map them out. And then go back and mark the ones that are purely work. They sign a contract. We send an invoice. They pay the invoice. We have a meeting, right? We send the update. We send the whatever it is that we do for them, right? Once you've mapped out everything that you do for your clients from start to finish, from the day they start with you to the day they're done, and you map out all of your touch points, go back and identify with a W, the ones that are work. And then the ones that are purely just relationship building, put an R beside. What I know is going to happen for most businesses is you're probably only going to have one, maybe two pure relationship building touch points. Your goal is to improve that. We don't need, if you have 40 work touch points, we do not need 40 relationship touch points. That is weird. Don't do that, right? But if you're looking at 40 work touch points, right, you're probably going to want to make sure at a minimum, right, you've got 3, maybe 4 relationship touch points, but you're probably going to start getting into that, like the 20% probably are ultimately going to look like relationship building touch points. And some relationship building touch points can be combined with work. So that makes it, easier to deliver. But go back and look, like, how many W's do you have versus how many R's do you have? It's a really important exercise.
So next, we want to look at how can we make things move quickly. A lot of this stuff that we've been discussing is quite strategic, but if we want to see change right now, how can we begin making that happen?
Yep. So this one is a little bit outside the client experience, but it's because we talked about it. And I think that it is the easiest thing for people to do if they want to know where their low-hanging fruit is that's hanging out in their business right now for getting more referrals. Like, just think about it over the next 90 days, right? This is the thing you want to do if you want to at least start moving in the right direction. And that is actually identifying if you have existing referral sources. So now I'm pulling a piece out of the first book, Generating Business Referrals Without Asking. But if you have people referring you now, it is the low-hanging fruit and usually the fastest way to increase your referrals. But you have to know who they are first before you put the 5 to 7 touch point plan in place. But when I work with my clients, I always like to say this: when people go to my website and they see all these amazing case studies, like, oh, she tripled our referrals in 1 year, or she quadrupled our referrals in 90 days. It is usually a portion, not the whole, but a large portion of that quadrupling or tripling or doubling of referrals is because they had people referring them. And all I had to do was be like, do you know who they are? Great. We've got them identified. Now let's layer in this touch point plan. And once we do that, everything starts to shift. But you do not know what to do until you know who you are doing it for. So you really need to work through the process. And it's actually in the book, in my first book as well, but I'll just really quickly give the points. When you're identifying who your existing referral sources are, you don't do it by who you think or recency bias or who has most recently referred you. You do it by looking at over the last couple of years, list out all your clients and then list out where'd they come from. And if you list out a name, like, oh, this person came from Bob, right? Bob is my referral source. All the names you list, those are your existing referral sources. And if you can do it for 1 year, great. If my clients always tell them you're going to do it for 3 to 4 years. So whether you become a client of mine or not, doesn't matter. You might as well go back and do 3 years. But pull out the last 3 years of clients that you brought on board and then identify where they heard about you. Any name on that list of who they heard about you from is a referral source. And that now is your list of gold. I don't care if it has 3 people on it or 33 people on it. You need to know who these people are because they are usually the closest to your next couple of clients than you are.
I forgot my microphone. So this is just an 8-minute clip from a 45-minute conversation. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can hop over to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I'll put a link in the description below this video. If you want to blow up referrals in your business, the full interview with Stacey Brown-Randall could change the game for you, and I would thoroughly encourage you to check that out. If you enjoyed this video, please do continue subscribing to this YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube and I haven't just posted it on LinkedIn natively, as I'm wont to do impulsively. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.